Join us. Stand up to stop bullying.
Bullying just does not compute.
Don't listen to their racket. Ask for help.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention defines bullying as any unwanted aggressive behaviors by another youth or group of youths who are not siblings or current dating partners that involves an observed or perceived power imbalance and is repeated multiple times or is highly likely to be repeated. Bullying may inflict harm or distress on the targeted youth, including physical, psychological, social, or educational harm. A young person can be a perpetrator, a victim, or both, also known as bully victim. Some of the factors associated with a higher likelihood of engaging in bullying behaviors include externalizing problems such as defiant and disruptive behavior, harsh parenting by caregivers, attitudes accepting of violence.
I was bullied from 5th to 8th grade. It ended in 8th grade because I moved in with my grandparents. In 5th grade, I got started on some pretty heavy medication that made me gain weight. I was chubbier than everyone I knew, and I got teased because of it. They called me things like fat, said I'd never get a boyfriend, and those things hurt an 11-year-old girl. In 6th grade, I started middle school, and there was a rumor going around that I was pregnant. Can you imagine being in 6th grade and having to hassle the idea that you might have a baby? I didn't even know how that worked. In 7th grade, the new rumor was that I was a lesbian. My friends couldn't cope, so they just stopped being my friends. I had no one to talk to. My mom wouldn't listen. To deal with this all, I started cutting myself, and I had an eating disorder. By the time 8th grade rolled around, I was crying and cutting every night. Finally, by the end of 8th grade, my mom, my grandparents, and I decided that for my health, I should move in with them. It was hard, but it was the right thing to do. Even though I was away from the bullies, my bad habits persisted. I wanted to kill myself. I started to see a therapist in 9th grade. It was a great outlet to deal with all my feelings. In 9th grade, I started high school, and I joined chorus and theater. I made a lot of new friends, and they're like my family. I'm having a great time. They never knew I was a victim of such constant harassment. I am telling this story to reach out to someone who may be being bullied, to tell them that it will get better. And if you are bullying someone, to tell them to stop harassing people, stop being so tormentive. If a friend of yours is getting bullied, don't leave them, comfort them. We cannot be silent bystanders. Don't let the bullies get away with bad behavior.
Don't listen to the dribble.
Find your voice.
Youth can use electronic media to embarrass, harass, or threaten their peers. Like traditional forms of youth violence, electronic aggression is associated with emotional distress and conduct problems at school. Although many different terms such as cyberbullying, internet harassment, and internet bullying have been used to describe this type of violence, electronic aggression is the term that most accurately captures all types of violence that occur electronically. Recent research suggests that youth who are victimized electronically are also very likely to be victimized offline. Examples of electronic aggression: disclosing someone else's personal information in a public area, such as a website, in order to cause embarrassment. Posting rumors or lies about someone in a public area like a discussion board. Distributing embarrassing pictures of someone by posting them in a public area like a website or sending them via email. Assuming another person's electronic identity to post or send messages about others with the intent of causing the other person harm. Sending mean, embarrassing, or threatening text messages, instant messages, or emails.
I was in middle school, around 7th grade, when I got invited to this birthday party from a kid I didn't know very well. To be honest, I didn't like him. He was a bully. I'd seen him target these kids around school and picking on them. He would always call them names and get in their face, intimidate them. So naturally, when I got invited to the party, I said yes, more out of fear than anything else. He would usually find a kid who was insecure or a loner, a kid who was smaller, thinner, maybe wore glasses, and he would make sure that they felt inferior. He would pick on them, call them names, intimidate them, act like he was gonna throw a punch. He'd even correct them, even though he was absolutely wrong, just to make them feel stupid. Every day, he'd just be terrorizing these kids, taunting them, and try to engage others to join in. I went to his party because I didn't want to become another target. And when I got there, I soon realized that I was one of only a few people there. I didn't have any real friends. Friends you go to hang out and do things with. Most of the other kids at the party were just sons and daughters of his parents' friends. And even those kids stayed away from him. When I went home that night, I told my parents about the bullying and the different things he would do. And although I was scared of him, I actually felt pretty sorry for him. Not having any friends, I couldn't imagine how that loneliness could feel like. So out of pity, I actually started hanging out with him. And over time, he actually began to make more friends. He changed a lot of his ways, although it didn't happen overnight. But I'm still glad that I was there for him. I think he changed because he had someone he could trust. He found someone who accepted him for who he was. And I think he changed especially because he had someone he could finally talk to, an actual friend. The more we hung out and the better I got to know him, I slowly learned that he had a self-esteem problem. Funny, you never think that a bully actually has self-esteem problems, but it's true. Most bullies either suffer from low self-esteem, a bad home environment, or being bullied themselves. Anyway, he's in college now. We still try and keep in touch. After all, he's come a very long way. It hasn't always been easy being his friend, but I'm glad we became friends. I sometimes think how things might have been different if I didn't go to that party.
Find peaceful solutions.
Find your positive inner strength.
Youth violence is a serious problem that can have lasting harmful effects on victims and their family, friends, and communities. How young adults can get help. Encourage young adults to talk to someone they trust. Determine if the behavior violates campus policies. Review student codes of conduct, state criminal laws, and civil rights laws. Report criminal acts to campus or community law enforcement. Young adults may be reluctant to seek help for cyberbullying, although they do recognize it as a serious issue for their age group. Encourage young adults to report cyberbullying. The goal for youth violence prevention is simple: to stop youth violence from happening in the first place.
Be part of the equation.
Find the solution.
Stop before the horsing around becomes hurtful.
For more information, contact the Domestic Abuse Council. Thank you for your support.